In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the wiper transmission and wiper motor on a Honda Accord. If you need any parts, check us out at oneauto.com. The first thing we'll want to do is mark where each one of our wiper blades lands on the windshield. So once we have the wiper arms removed, we'll know exactly where to replace them when we go to reinstall. We'll just use some masking tape for this, something that easily comes up and off of the glass. We don't want to leave any residue from glue. Shouldn't need too much tape here. It's just a quick marking. Let's put the hood in the upright position and we'll continue on to removing each of the wiper arms. To remove the wiper arms, you'll find that you have a protective plug that is covering the mounting nut. Use a small prying device to go ahead and pop that plug right off of there. We'll give it a quick inspection, make sure it is still reusable, and set it aside. Under that, you'll find that you have a 17mm nut. Let's remove that. As for the driver's side wiper arm, we can start removing that now. To remove this, we're going to lift up on the wiper arm, and we're going to wiggle the arm, trying to break it free from the wiper transmission. Now, as you lift this up, you want to be extremely careful for the hinged joint right here. This is under spring pressure, and you don't want to get pinched. Let's set this aside. Let's make our way over to the passenger side. We'll remove that cover, and then remove the 17mm nut. Sometimes you can take this and wiggle it just enough to break it free with the hood in the upright position. Other times you might have to lower the hood to be able to do this. Once again, we're being extremely careful for any pinch points. With both of those arms off of there, we're going to continue on with removing the plastic cowl. This is a two-piece cowl, but you'll find that it's held in place with several push clips. There's one right here, and then they make their way across the front. Use a trim tool or prying device, make your way underneath this area and separate it. There should be one right here. Ours is missing. Just go ahead and pop it right out of there though. Continue making our way down the line towards the passenger side. Take hold of your rubber seal and gently pull that up and off of here. You want to be careful not to damage it. Once you have it approximately halfway, that should be far enough here, as long as it's past the divider. At this point, we should have plenty of movement coming from the forward aspect of this panel. You'll find that you have several push tabs that make their way straight down. Be extremely careful along the windshield. I'm going to use a plastic trim tool, make my way along the seal here, and gently just try to pry this up, making my way across. There we are. Got some movement from this side. Continue over. Now what we're going to do is carefully lift up on the passenger side panel here. We just want to separate it. We don't have to fully remove this. We can leave this semi in place. Continue on to the driver's side part of the trim panel. For this, I'm going to take hold of it and carefully start sliding it towards the driver's side. Once you've done that, we'll continue on to lifting this up and removing it from the vehicle. As you're doing this, you want to be careful because there is still a rubber hose that makes its way through the inside of this all the way over to your washer fluid nozzle. So we'll just lift this up and out and then rest it off to the side inside of the engine compartment. The rubber seal along the hood can be a little bit difficult. If you find that you have to use a trim tool, you can do that. Just make sure it's made out of plastic so you don't scratch anything. Now we have a clear view of our wiper transmission. We're going to continue on with the wiring harness. You'll find that it should be held in place right here. Use a trim tool to separate that. Should pop right out of this hole. Once you've completed that, we'll continue on to where the connector connects onto the wiper motor. There's a locking tab that you're going to have to use your index finger, come right underneath this, squeeze it in, and we'll pull this off. Here's that locking tab I spoke about. I just squeezed it in real quick. A quick inspection for corrosion, and we'll set that aside. Let's continue on to removing our 4 10mm headed bolts that are holding the wiper transmission in place. You'll find that you have 2 along the driver's side and 2 over towards the passenger side of the transmission. Let's get this over to the bench. Over on the bench, you're going to want to pay attention to this area right here on the original wiper transmission. What we're pointing out is on the original wiper transmission, it has 3 lines right here. That's for an alignment point that's supposed to correspond with this triangle on this arm. Now we'll have a look over at our new wiper transmission, and you'll find that it does not have those markings. So we'll make a mark in that approximate location, and then we can continue. The next thing we'll do is continue on to removing these 2 arms. You'll find that this is a ball and socket right here, so you can gently pry that apart. At this point, we can take hold of this arm and we'll pivot it away. Moving along, we'll remove this 17mm nut. Under that, you'll find that you have a washer. Remove that as well. Now we'll pry this up and out of place. It's a good idea to pay attention to exactly where it's located, as I had said before. This can be stuck on the shaft. Sometimes you just have to wiggle it around a little bit. Be careful for any pinch points. There's that. A quick inspection, and we can set this aside. With that out of the way, let's continue on to our 3 10mm headed bolts that are holding the wiper motor to the transmission. Remove the motor, give it a quick inspection, make sure it's not cracked or damaged in any areas. This one looks fine, so we'll clean it up and put it aside. All right, let's get ready to install that brand new wiper transmission. We'll start that by reinstalling the motor. Start in each of your 3 10mm headed mounting bolts and snug them up. Let's pivot this. Let's continue on with this arm. You remember that it has the marking right there. We'll align it with our marking that's on the transmission. Try to get as close as possible here. Continue on with your washer and then your 17mm nut. Let's just confirm that alignment before we go ahead and tighten that. Holding the arm carefully, being aware of any pinch points, let's make sure this is nice and tight. Continue on with some lubricant. We'll lubricate this ball area where the joint is. Take this and put it in position. We want to try to squeeze it together without bending this arm. If you have a hard time by hand, you could use some pliers. Just be careful not to damage this area. Confirm everything's completely secured, and let's get over to the vehicle. Let's carefully get this back in place, being very aware of the windshield. You don't want to crack it or damage it in any way. Once you feel as though you have it in place, continue on by starting in each one of your 4 bolts. After all of them are started in, you can snug them. Let's reconnect that wiring harness here. You'd want to continue on to resecuring the wiring along this area. Just slide it on there. Once you're sure that everything's reassembled properly under here, We'll continue on putting on our trim panels. Before we bring this over, just point out this little clip under here. That's important to note because it is located under here, but the driver's side one will have to go in first and then slide over it. As we bring this in place, be careful for your hose. We're going to have to bring this under and behind the hood area here. That will fit inside of this groove, and once it has, you want to make sure that you clip this together. It goes right in there. Before we go too far putting everything together, remember your clip over here. There we are. I've got that slid over. Press this in. We'll continue on to this area here. Make sure that that's secured. Here we are. We'll just press those two pieces together. Go over here. Start aligning this as well. Once you feel as though it's aligned, go ahead and press it in. Let's reinstall our rubber seal. We'll reinstall all of our plastic clips that we had removed. There should be one right here. We'll clean up the windshield where the wiper blades are going to go. Now it's time to reinstall the wiper arms with blades. The one for the passenger side would be the wiper arm that has the shorter blade on it. We'll take this and align it with the stud of the wiper transmission. Before you press it all the way down, make sure you align it with your alignment points that you had made on the windshield. Get it as close as possible. After that, you can go ahead and press this down onto the transmission, double check to make sure you are still aligned, and then go ahead and install the nut and tighten it. While tightening this, it's a good idea to hold onto the wiper arm so it doesn't turn on you. We'll reinstall our plastic cover. Get the driver's side one on here. Install your cover. The next thing we'll do is close our hood. Remove your markings. Okay, friend, the car's back together. I hope this video helped you. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell so you can be kept up with all of our latest content. Thanks for watching.